Chapter 1. The Call Before Rent. Harold Bennett had the cursor over Submit Payment when Ryan's name lit up his phone. Harold Bennett was 69, widowed, and alone in the small Mesa house he had once shared with his wife. He still worked part-time at a hardware store, even though his knees complained every morning and his doctor had told him to slow down. Ryan, his 34-year-old son, had been calling for money for years whenever life came apart. Harold knew this mortgage mattered. He also knew Ryan never called this early just to check in. For a second, he did not move. The laptop sat open on the kitchen table, its screen bright in the dim morning light. The payment page showed the amount due in neat black numbers. His checking account sat in another tab. The balance, just enough to cover it. Not enough for comfort. Not enough for surprise. But enough to keep the house his for another month. The phone kept buzzing. Harold looked at Ryan's name until the letters blurred a little. Then he looked back at the blue Submit Payment button. His finger rested on the trackpad. The phone stopped. The silence felt worse. He let out a slow breath and reached for his coffee, but before his hand touched the mug, the phone started again. Same name, same small picture of Ryan from 3 years ago, cropped from a family barbecue, where he had still looked like he might turn things around. Harold picked up. "Hey, Rye." "Dad!" Ryan's voice came fast, tight, already halfway inside trouble. "Are you home?" Harold glanced around the kitchen as if there were another answer. The same round table, the same yellowed blinds, the same stack of envelopes separated into piles he understood too well. Pay now, pay later, pray nobody calls. "Yeah," he said, "I'm home. I need to ask you something." Harold looked at the mortgage page. What happened? Ryan breathed hard through his nose. There was traffic behind him, or maybe wind. He was outside somewhere. He was always outside somewhere when he did not want Harold to hear too much. "It's rent," Ryan said. "I'm short." Harold did not answer. The refrigerator hummed behind him. The air conditioner clicked on, then rattled like it had to think about whether it wanted to keep working. He had meant to change the filter last weekend. Then Ryan had needed $200 for a phone bill. "How short?" Harold asked. Ryan paused. That pause told Harold more than the answer would. $900. Harold leaned back in the chair. The old wood creaked under him. Ellen had wanted to replace this set years ago, but then Claire needed help with community college books and Ryan needed tires. There had always been something more urgent than a chair. $900, Harold said. "I know how it sounds." "Do you?" "Dad, please don't start." Harold closed his mouth. Ryan softened his voice. "Not much, but enough." "I had most of it, I did. Then my hours got cut and the car thing hit me and they added a late fee from last month. If I don't get it in by 5, they're going to start the paperwork." Harold moved the cursor without meaning to. The little arrow slid away from Submit Payment and rested in a blank part of the screen. "What paperwork?" "You know, eviction stuff." Harold shut his eyes for a moment. "Ryan, I'm not asking for the whole thing. How much are you asking me for?" "I can cover 200. "So you need 7. "Yeah, $700. Harold looked at his account balance again. He had checked it once before breakfast, then again after, then once with a pencil on the back of a grocery receipt because numbers on a screen no longer felt trustworthy. There was no hidden extra, no cushion he had forgotten about. The mortgage would take almost everything already. "I've got my mortgage due," Harold said. His voice sounded too quiet, even to him. Ryan did not speak right away. That was one of his habits. Silence when he wanted Harold to fill it. Silence when a plain fact had to become Harold's problem. "I get that," Ryan said at last. Harold rubbed the side of his thumb against the phone case. "Do you?" "Come on. I'm asking." "I said I get it." Ryan's voice sharpened, then he pulled it back. "But I don't have anyone else." Harold hated that line. Not because Ryan meant it cruelly, because Harold believed him enough. He stood up, carrying the phone with him to the sink. There was nothing in it except a spoon and the mug he had used last night for tea. He rinsed the spoon anyway, turning on the water just to have something to do with his hands. "Did you talk to your landlord?" Harold asked. "Yes." "What did he say?" "He said pay by 5. Ask for Friday." "I did." "Ask again." Dad, this isn't one of your hardware store customers trying to return a drill. They don't care." Harold turned off the water. That little jab should not have hurt. It was nothing. Ryan was scared. People said things when they were scared. Still, Harold stood there with the wet spoon in his hand, feeling foolish. "I didn't say they cared," he said. "I said ask." "I already did. I'm telling you what they told me." Harold set the spoon in the drying rack. The rack had rust at one corner. Claire had told him to replace it. Claire noticed things like that. Rust, empty shelves, unpaid notices folded under coupons. A text came in while Ryan was still on the line. The phone vibrated against Harold's cheek. He pulled it away and looked. Claire. Dad, did you pay your mortgage yet? Harold stared at the message. Ryan's voice came faintly from the speaker. Dad, you there? Harold put the phone back to his ear. I'm here. What was that? Nothing. Was it Claire? Harold did not answer fast enough. Ryan gave a short, bitter laugh. Of course. She's worried. She's always worried when it means she can tell me what a screw-up I am. She didn't say that. She doesn't have to. Harold sat back down. The laptop screen had dimmed a little. The mortgage page waited, patient and clean. Claire's text sat at the top of the phone like a second bill. Ryan, Harold said, I can't keep doing this every time. I know. I mean it. I said, I know. You say that, but then… Dad. Ryan's voice cracked, not fully, just enough to stop him. If you don't help me today, I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight. Harold looked at the kitchen window. Outside, the Arizona morning was already too bright. The gravel yard threw the sun back in pale sparks. Across the street, someone's sprinkler was running, ticking back and forth over a strip of grass too green for May. He saw Ryan at 8, standing in the hallway after a nightmare, refusing to say he was scared. He saw Ryan at 16, angry and thin, telling Harold he did not need anybody. He saw Ryan now, 34, and still somehow both those boys when he called. Dad? Harold swallowed. How do I know this is the last time? He asked. Ryan exhaled. Because it has to be. That's not an answer. I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to tell me how you're going to fix it. I've got a check coming Friday. I'll pay you back. You won't. The words came out before Harold could soften them. The line went still. Then Ryan said low, wow. Harold rubbed his forehead. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? I mean, you won't be able to pay it all back Friday. You don't know that. I know enough. Right. Ryan's voice changed. It went flatter, colder. Claire's been talking to you. This has nothing to do with Claire. It always does. She thinks because she married someone with a steady job, she gets to look down on everybody. Don't do that. Do what? Make this about her. Ryan laughed once, without humor. You're the one bringing up whether I pay you back. Harold looked at the mortgage amount again. It seemed larger now, though it had not changed. None of the numbers had changed. Only his chances had. He opened the bank transfer page. Ryan's account was already saved under frequent transfers. That small fact embarrassed him. It sat there on the screen, proof of something Harold never said out loud. How much exactly? Harold asked. Ryan did not answer right away. 700, he said. Harold typed the amount. His fingers moved slowly, as if someone else might stop them. The laptop fan began to whir under the table. He checked the number once, then again. 700. A clean number, a ruinous number. I'm sending it, Harold said. Ryan breathed out and thank God. But listen to me. I am. No, listen. Harold kept his eyes on the screen. This has to be the last time for a while. I mean that. I know. You keep saying that. Because I do know. Harold wanted to ask if Ryan understood what this money was. Not extra. Not help from a cushion. Mortgage money. House money. The difference between being late and being safe. But if he said that, Ryan might tell him not to send it. And if Ryan told him not to send it, Harold would have to hear whether he meant it. So Harold did not say it. Ryan spoke again, quieter. I swear I'm going to get things straight. Harold's finger hovered over the transfer button. He wanted to believe him. That was the old trap. Not that Ryan lied every time. Sometimes he meant it. Sometimes he probably meant it with his whole tired, frightened heart. But meaning something had never kept the next call from coming. Harold clicked. The page took a moment. 3 seconds, maybe 4. Then the confirmation appeared. Transfer complete. There, Harold said. Ryan let out another breath. Dad, thank you. Seriously, I'll make this right. Harold stared at the words on the screen. Okay, I mean it. I know. I'll call you later. Okay. Ryan stayed on the line 1 extra second, like he might say something else, something ordinary. He did not. The call ended. Harold put the phone down beside the laptop. The kitchen seemed too quiet after Ryan's voice left it. The air conditioner rattled again. The refrigerator hummed. Somewhere outside, a truck door slammed. He clicked back to the mortgage page. The amount due was still there. His checking balance was not enough anymore. Harold looked at both numbers until they stopped being math and became only a fact he could not move. The phone buzzed again. Claire's message rose on the screen. Dad, did you pay your mortgage yet? He did not pick it up at first. Then he did, because not looking at a thing had never made it disappear. The reply box waited. He could write yes. He could write almost. He could write, don't worry, honey. He had written that before, many times. To Claire, to Ryan, to Ellen when she was sick and bills came faster than test results. His thumb hovered over the keyboard. In the laptop's glow, his hand looked older than it had 10 minutes ago. He set the phone face down, then turned it face up again. Claire's question remained. On the screen, the mortgage payment waited. On the phone, his daughter waited. Somewhere across town, Ryan waited for money that was already on its way. Harold sat between all of it, his cold coffee untouched, and answered no one. Chapter 2, Claire sees the notice. Claire came in without waiting for Harold to reach the door. She had a key. She had used it since Ellen got sick, though she always knocked first, hard enough to make a point. This time the knock came with the sound of a grocery bag bumping against the frame and Claire's voice through the screen. "Dad, it's me." Harold was halfway out of his chair when the front door opened. "I'm coming," he called, though she was already inside. Claire stepped into the living room with 2 reusable grocery bags hooked over one forearm and her purse slipping from the other shoulder. Her hair was pulled back in a low clip, the way she wore it when she had stopped somewhere between errands and had no patience left for loose strands. She looked around once before she looked at him. That was Claire. She noticed the room before the person in it. "You didn't answer my text," she said. Harold reached for the nearest bag. "Good morning to you, too." It was almost noon, then good almost afternoon. She let him take one bag but kept the heavier one. "Don't be cute." "I'm not cute anymore, I'm seasoned." Claire did not smile. Harold carried the bag into the kitchen, slower than he wanted her to see. His knee had stiffened after standing too long at work the day before. He had told himself he would ice it after breakfast, then spent the morning looking at the mortgage page he still had not paid. Claire set her bag on the counter and began unloading before he could stop her. "Bananas were cheap," she said, "and they had the soup you like." "I've got food." She opened the refrigerator. Harold turned too quickly. "Claire." She stood there with one hand on the handle, looking at the half carton of eggs, a jar of pickles, coffee creamer, and a plastic container of rice from 3 days ago. "You've got condiments," she said. "I eat at work sometimes." "You work 4-hour shifts." "They're long 4 hours." She put the soup cans on the counter one by one. Chicken noodle, tomato, vegetable, beef, store brand. Because Claire watched prices even when she was worried. "I was going to go shopping," Harold said. "When?" "This afternoon." "With what car? Yours is still making that noise?" "It's not a noise, it's more of a suggestion." "Dad?" He opened a cabinet and made room for the cans. The cabinet was not empty exactly. There were crackers, oatmeal, a bag of rice, 2 cans of green beans. Enough to look like a person was managing if nobody looked too long. Claire looked too long. "You didn't pick up your prescription either," she said. Harold kept his back to her. "I will." "It was ready Monday." "I know when it was ready." "Then why is CVS texting me?" "Because you signed up for every alert known to man." "Because Mom asked me to, and you never took me off." The kitchen went still for half a beat. Harold slid a can into place and closed the cabinet. Claire's face changed, but only slightly. She did not apologize. Claire rarely apologized right away. She would get quiet first, then practical, then maybe later send a text with too many periods. "I'm not trying to hover," she said. "You're doing a good impression." "I'm trying to make sure you're okay." "I'm okay." She leaned against the counter and folded the empty grocery bag with sharp, irritated movements. "Then answer your phone." "I was busy." "Doing what?" "Living a rich and mysterious life." "Dad." He looked at her then. Claire's eyes were tired, not soft, tired. There were lines beside her mouth that had not been there when Ellen died. Or maybe Harold just had not wanted to see them. She had her own bills, her own family, her own bad mornings. Still, here she was, bringing soup like evidence. "I forgot," he said. "You didn't forget." He walked to the table and started gathering envelopes. Too fast. Claire saw. "What's that?" "Mail." "I know, it's mail." He picked up the top 3 envelopes and folded them under a grocery flyer. "Nothing important." She crossed the kitchen before he could move the stack. "Claire." She reached for the envelope sticking out from under the flyer. "Don't!" The word came out sharper than he meant. Claire stopped. Her hand hovered over the table. "Why?" Harold felt heat move up his neck. "Because it's my mail." For once, that slowed her. She pulled her hand back, but her eyes stayed on the envelope. The logo was visible. The mortgage company's name in the corner. The red strip along the bottom. "Dad," she said quietly. "It's a notice?" "I can see that." "Then you don't need to touch it." "Are you late?" He looked toward the sink. There was a clean spoon in the drying rack, 1 cup, 1 plate. Small evidence of a small life. He wanted the room to look different. Fuller, less easy to judge. "I'm handling it." "How late?" "Claire." "How late?" He sat down because standing made him feel cornered. "It's not what you think." "What do I think?" You think I'm some helpless old man who can't pay his bills? I think you're hiding something. I'm not hiding. She looked at the envelope. Harold moved it under his palm. Claire's jaw tightened. Did you send Ryan money? He laughed once, too loud. There it is. Did you? He needed help. How much? He's going through a rough patch. He's been in a rough patch since 2011. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is you sitting here with no food in the fridge and a late notice on the table while he calls you like an ATM. Harold pushed the chair back. Don't talk about your brother like that. How much, Dad? He walked to the counter and picked up the empty grocery bag. Though it was already folded, he folded it again. Harold. She only used his name when she was trying not to yell. He set the bag down. How much? 700, he said. Claire stared at him. The number seemed to hang in the kitchen longer than it should have. Yesterday, she asked. He did not answer. Oh my God. He needed rent. You needed mortgage. I'll catch up. With what? I get paid Friday. You work part-time at Ace Hardware. It's not Ace. Dad. It's a local store. That is not the point. He knew it was not the point. That only made him want to argue about it more. Claire pressed both hands flat on the counter and looked down. When she spoke again, her voice was lower. Did he ask if you had it? Harold looked away. Did he ask? He was scared. That's not an answer. He might lose his place. And you might lose yours. He's my son. I'm aware. You don't sound like it. Her head came up. Don't do that. Do what? Make me the cold one because I'm not letting him drain you dry. He is not draining me dry. Claire pointed at the table. Not dramatically, just one hard motion toward the red strip on the envelope. Then what is that? Harold had no answer that did not sound like losing. The air conditioner clicked on and blew cool air across the kitchen floor. A corner of the mortgage notice lifted under his palm. Claire saw it. Of course she did. How long has this been going on? She asked. It's one payment. No, Ryan, how long has this been this bad? Harold rubbed his thumb along the edge of the table. There was a nick in the wood from when Ryan, at 12, had tried to open a model airplane kit with a steak knife and lied about it for 2 days. He's trying, Harold said. Claire's face changed then, not softer exactly, but hurt in a way she did not want him to see. I tried too, she said. He looked at her. I tried when Mom got sick. I tried when you wouldn't ask for help. I tried when Ryan disappeared for 3 weeks and came back needing money like nothing happened. She stopped herself, swallowing the rest. I am still trying. This isn't about you. No, she said. It never is. The words landed between them, too plain to dodge. Harold stood. That's enough. Claire gave a small nod as if she had expected that. Sure. I mean it. Ryan's had a hard time. Everybody has a hard time. You've always been fine. There, he said it. Claire went very still. Harold wished instantly that he could take it back. Not because it was completely false, because it was the kind of false that came from only looking at the part of someone that made your life easier. Claire picked up her purse from the counter. I'm fine, she said. That's what you needed me to be. Claire, no, don't. She took the empty grocery bags and tucked them under her arm. The full shelves she had created behind him suddenly looked like accusation. I didn't ask you to come over, Harold said weakly. I know, her voice was flat now, controlled. That's why I did. She walked to the table and, before he could stop her, slid the mortgage notice out from under his palm. She did not open it all the way. She did not need to. Her eyes moved over the first page, then closed for a second. When is it due? Claire. When? He said nothing. She folded the notice along its old crease and placed it back on the table, carefully, like it belonged to someone who had died. He's not in trouble, Dad, she said. He's the trouble you keep paying for. Harold felt the words hit before he understood what he wanted to do with them. Get out, he said. Claire flinched, but only a little. He hurt himself and hated the sound, but he could not pull it back. His face was hot. His knee hurt. The room smelled like canned soup and old coffee and the sharp paper smell of bills. Don't talk about him like that, he said. Claire's eyes were wet now, but she did not let anything fall. Then stop letting him kill you slowly. The sentence stayed there. Harold looked at her, waiting for her to soften it, explain it, make it less ugly. She did not. She turned and walked out through the living room. The front door opened, then shut with a careful click that was worse than a slam. Harold remained standing beside the kitchen table. The soup can sat lined in the cabinet. The mortgage notice lay where Claire had placed it, no longer hidden. His phone was face down beside it. After a while, the screen lit up against the wood. For one terrible second, he thought it was Ryan. It was Claire. No new message, just the old one still waiting from yesterday. Dad, did you pay your mortgage yet? Harold turned the phone over again and left the question in the dark. Chapter 3, Mom would have helped. Harold stood in the living room with the phone in his hand and set it to the empty couch. I can't keep doing this. It sounded too hard. He tried again. I can't keep doing this, Ryan. That sounded like something Claire would say. He looked toward the front door, still closed from when Claire had left the day before, with her grocery bags tucked under her arm and her last sentence sitting in the house like smoke. Harold had slept badly, waking twice to the thin square of moonlight on the carpet and the feeling that someone had called his name. No one had. The morning had come anyway. He had not paid the mortgage, he had not answered Claire, he had not called Ryan. But at some point after coffee, with the house too quiet and the late notice still on the kitchen table, Harold had carried his phone into the living room and decided to practice. I can't send more right now, he said. Better, softer, still may be true. Across from him on the narrow bookshelf Ellen had bought from a thrift store, the family photo leaned in its silver frame. Ellen sat in the center, one arm around Claire, one around Ryan, both kids squinting in the sun at some park in Tempe. Harold stood behind them with both hands on Ellen's shoulders, looking younger than he remembered ever feeling. Ryan had been 12 in that picture, still all knees and elbows, wearing a Diamondbacks cap too big for him. Claire was 19, already standing like she might have to take charge if the adults failed. Harold turned the frame face down. Then he turned it back. The phone buzzed in his hand. Ryan. Harold looked at the screen for one full ring, then another. He answered on the third. Hey, he said. Dad. Ryan sounded different today, not as panicked, more careful. You busy? Harold looked at the silent TV, the folded blanket on the arm of the couch, the late morning sun cutting across the carpet. A little. Oh, okay. Ryan did not hang up. Harold rubbed a thumb over the side of the phone. What's going on? I talked to them. The landlord? Yeah. And? They took the $700. Harold waited. Ryan cleared his throat, but it didn't cover everything. Harold shut his eyes. There it was, the thing he had known and still hoped not to hear. How much more? Dad, before you get mad. How much? $350. Harold lowered himself into the chair near the bookshelf. His knee gave a small pop. The room felt suddenly smaller. The blinds too bright, the air too still. You said 7 would cover it. I said it would stop the paperwork. No, you said it would cover it. I said a lot yesterday. I was freaking out. Harold looked at the family photo. Ellen's smile caught the light through the glass. Ryan, I know I messed up the way I explained it. That's one way to put it. Can you not do that right now? Do what? Talk to me like I'm trying to scam you. Harold took the phone away from his ear, looked at it, then put it back. Are you? The silence after that was different. Not wounded, not scared, angry. Wow, Ryan said. Harold stared at the carpet. A brown thread had come loose near the coffee table leg. He had meant to trim it before it got worse. I shouldn't have said that, Harold said. No, it's fine. Good to know. It's not fine, He stopped. If he said Claire had found the notice, Ryan would go straight for her. I can't keep sending money every time there's another piece of it. I'm not asking every time. Harold almost laughed. It came out as a breath. Ryan heard it. Forget it. Don't do that. Do what? Get mad so I have to stop talking. I'm not mad. You are. Maybe I'm tired of feeling like a criminal for needing help. Harold leaned back and pressed his fingers over his eyes. You're 34. I know how old I am. Then help me understand what the plan is. The plan is I pay you back Friday. Ryan. What? You said that yesterday. Because it's true. And then what? What happens next month? Ryan did not answer. Outside, a truck rolled by slowly, tires crunching over gravel. Harold listened to it fade. I can't send you $350, Harold said. He said it plainly, no apology first, no softening at the end. His own voice surprised him. Ryan went quiet. Harold waited for the pushback, the anger, the sharp breath. It did not come right away. When Ryan spoke, his voice was low. So that's it? That's not what I said. It kind of is. I said I can't send more money. Right. I already sent $700. I know that. From money I needed. Ryan gave a bitter little sound. Claire got to you. No, she did. She went over there, didn't she? Harold looked toward the kitchen. The mortgage notice was still on the table where Claire had put it back, no longer hidden. She's worried about me, he said. She's always worried about you, and it means she can be right about me. Don't make this about your sister. She makes everything about me. She brought groceries, Ryan. Great. St. Clair brought soup. Harold's grip tightened around the phone. Stop. Ryan breathed hard. You know what? Fine. Don't send it. The words should have brought relief. They did not. Because Ryan did not sound like a man accepting a limit. He sounded like someone stepping closer to the edge and making sure Harold watched. Call them again, Harold said. Tell them you can pay the rest Friday. I did. Call somebody from work. I'm not begging guys at work for rent money. But you can ask me? Another silence. Harold looked at Ellen's picture again. He should not have said that either. It was true, and that made it worse. Ryan's voice came back quieter. You're my dad. I know. Do you? Harold said nothing. Ryan let the silence sit, then pushed into it. Mom would have helped me. The room changed. Not in any visible way. The same couch, the same bookshelf, the same closed blinds. But something in Harold's body went still, like the house had taken a breath and refused to let it out. Don't, Harold said. I'm just saying. No, don't say that. She would have. Harold stood too fast, and a pain shot through his knee. He put a hand on the back of the chair until it passed. You don't know what your mother would have done. I know she wouldn't let me end up with nowhere to go. Harold looked at the photo. Ellen, smiling under the desert sun, unaware of all the things her name would be asked to carry after she was gone. She's not here, Harold said. The words came out rough. Ryan was quiet for a moment. When he answered, the anger had thinned into something more dangerous. I know that, Dad. Harold regretted it instantly. Ryan, no, I know she's not here, believe me. That's not what I meant. I know exactly what you meant. Harold pressed his fingers against the bridge of his nose. Ryan said, maybe Claire's right. Maybe you only know how to be a father when it's easy. Harold sat down again slowly this time. There was no good answer to that. Not one that Ryan would hear. Not one Harold could say without sounding like he was defending his whole life to a man who had not seen half of it. I changed your sheets when you had pneumonia, Harold said before he could stop himself. What? Nothing. No, say it. Harold swallowed. Nothing. Ryan gave a tired laugh. You always do that. You start to say something, then act like I forced it out of you. Harold looked at his hand. There was a small nick across one knuckle from work, a thin red line already closing. I can't send the money, he said. This time his voice was quieter. Ryan did not explode. That almost made it harder. Okay, he said. Harold waited. Okay, Ryan said again. I'll figure it out. There it was. Plain enough, adult enough, and still underneath a hook. How? Harold asked. I don't know. I said I'll figure it out. Ryan, what do you want from me? I want you to tell me where you're sleeping tonight. Ryan sighed. I don't know. Do you have anyone you can call? No. What about Matt? I'm not calling Matt. Why? Because I'm not. Ryan. Dad, I said I'll figure it out. Harold heard a car horn on Ryan's end, then wind, then Ryan's voice again, lower. I gotta go. Wait. I'm late. For what? Work. Call me after. Sure. Ryan. What? Harold looked at Ellen's face in the frame. He wanted to say he was sorry. He wanted to say he was not abandoning him. He wanted to say that the house was at risk, that Claire had found the notice, that he had $70-some until Friday and a prescription waiting at CVS. Instead, he said, be careful. Ryan was quiet. Then he said, yeah. The call ended. Harold remained in the chair, the phone warm against his palm. The room returned to its ordinary sounds, the low buzz of the old ceiling fan and the click of the refrigerator from the kitchen, a dog barking somewhere down the street. His phone screen went dark. A missed call banner sat beneath Ryan's name. Claire. She had called during the conversation. Harold did not call her back. He stood, slower now, and walked to the bookshelf. For a moment, he touched the corner of the silver frame with one finger. Ellen's smile stayed where it was. Claire's young face stayed turned toward the sun. Ryan's cap still sat crooked on his head. Harold left the frame alone. Then he went to the small drawer in the bottom of the desk by the window. The drawer stuck halfway, swollen from years of dry heat and cheap wood. He pulled harder. It jerked open. Inside were old manuals, warranty papers, tax envelopes, a spare checkbook, and a folder he had not touched in months. He took out the folder. The label was written in his own hand, reserve account. He carried it to the coffee table and set it down. He did not open it. Not yet. He just sat in front of it with the phone beside his knee, waiting for it to ring again. Chapter 4, The Last Reserve. Harold had to pull the folder from the passenger seat twice before he got out of the car. The first time, he picked it up, saw his own handwriting on the tab, reserve account, and set it back down as if the paper had burned him. The second time, he kept his hand on it and looked through the windshield at the bank entrance. The glass doors opened and closed for people who walked like they knew exactly why they were there. A young man in a polo shirt came out talking into wireless earbuds. A woman in scrubs hurried past him with a deposit envelope tucked under her arm. A father around Ryan's age held the door for a little girl in pink sneakers, one hand on top of her head to keep her from darting ahead. Harold sat with the engine off until the car began to heat around him. His phone was in the cup holder. No new call from Ryan, no call from Claire. That should have made the morning easier. It did not. He took the folder and stepped out into the Mesa sun. The heat hit the top of his head first, then his face, then the back of his neck. By the time he crossed the parking lot, his shirt had started to stick between his shoulders. Inside, the bank was too cool and too bright. A line of people waited near the ropes. Harold joined the end of it, folder held against his chest. There were screens on the walls advertising home equity loans, mobile banking, retirement planning. Everyone on the posters looked rested. Smiling couples on patios. Grandparents with clean white hair and no worry in their hands. Harold looked down at his shoes. He had polished them for Ellen's funeral and never again. The leather had cracked near the toe. Next, the teller was young enough to call him sir without thinking about it. She had neat nails, a small silver necklace, and the quick smile of someone trained to keep things moving. "Good morning," she said. "How can I help you?" Harold slid the folder onto the counter and opened it. "I need to make a withdrawal from this account." "Sure, do you have your ID?" He handed it over. She typed, glanced at the screen, typed again. Harold watched her face for any sign that something was wrong. People behind him shifted in line. A printer hummed somewhere. The pen attached to the counter by a little chain rolled when he touched it. "How much would you like to withdraw?" she asked. He had rehearsed the number in the car, then in the parking lot, then again while standing in line. 400, he said. The teller entered it. Her smile changed, not gone, just paused. "From the reserve savings?" "Yes." "Okay." She looked at the screen again. "I do need to let you know, after this withdrawal, the remaining balance will be..." She turned the monitor slightly away as if to give the number privacy. "Very low." Harold nodded. "Do you still want to continue?" It was a simple question, polite, part of her job. Still, he felt as if the whole bank had gone quiet to hear his answer. "Yes," he said. The teller clicked something. "And would you like that in cash or transferred to checking?" "Checking." "Okay, then you can send it from there?" "Yes." She printed a slip and placed it in front of him. "I'll just need your signature here." Harold picked up the pen. His fingers did not close right the first time. He adjusted his grip, pressing the pen harder than he needed to. The paper shifted under his hand. The line behind him moved with small, impatient sounds. Keys, shoes, a throat cleared. He looked at the signature line. For a second, he saw the coffee table at home, the folder unopened. Ryan's voice from the phone. "Mom would have helped me." Then Claire's face in the kitchen. Then "Stop letting him kill you slowly." Harold signed. The shape of his name came out cramped and uneven. The teller took the slip. "Thank you. It'll just be a moment." He stood there while she finished the transaction. On the counter beside him sat a small bowl of wrapped mints. He took one because his hands needed something to do, then put it in his shirt pocket without opening it. "All set," she said. "You should see the transfer and checking right away." "Thank you. Have a good day." Harold almost said, "You too." The words stuck, then came out too late, after he had already turned away. In the parking lot, the heat had sharpened. He got into the car and shut the door. The inside smelled faintly of old upholstery and the peppermint in his pocket. He started the engine, turned the air up, and waited for it to blow cold. His phone sat in the cup holder. He opened the banking app. The money was there now, moved from one small place to another small place. For a moment, the checking balance looked healthier. If he did not think about the mortgage, if he did not think about the prescription still waiting at CVS, if he did not think about the reserve account hollowed down to almost nothing, it looked like relief. He selected Ryan's saved account. The amount field waited. Harold typed 350. Then he deleted it. He sat with both hands on the phone, staring at the blank space. $350. That was what Ryan had asked for. That was what remained between him and sleeping in his car, if Ryan had told the truth. That was what remained between Harold and not having to imagine him there. He typed 350 again. Before he hit send, he opened messages. Ryan's last text sat at the bottom of their thread from yesterday. "I promise, I'll fix everything." Harold read it twice. Then he typed a new message. "This is the last time, I mean it." He stared at the sentence. It looked firmer than he felt. He almost added, "I love you." Then he almost added, "I can't keep doing this." Then he almost added, "Please don't make me regret this." He erased nothing because he had typed none of it. He hit send on the money first. Then he sent the message. The confirmation appeared almost immediately. Transfer complete. Harold set the phone in his lap. The air conditioner finally began to cool the car. He sat there in the bank lot with the engine running, feeling something loosen in his chest that was not peace. Ryan replied before Harold had put the car in reverse. "Thank you, I promise. I'll fix everything." A second bubble appeared. "You saved me, Dad." Harold looked at that one longer. The words should have warmed him. Maybe they did for a second. In the old place where fatherhood still meant being the one who could arrive with a blanket, a ride, a check, an answer. But the warmth did not last. He locked the phone and drove home. The streets between the bank and his house looked ordinary enough to be insulting. A landscaper blew dust off a driveway. Two teenagers waited at a bus stop with their backpacks at their feet. A woman in sunglasses walked a small white dog that refused to move. The world did not mark the fact that Harold had just emptied the last account he had promised himself not to touch. At a red light, his phone buzzed again. He did not look. He knew if it was Ryan, it would be gratitude. If it was Claire, it would be a question. He did not have room for either. When he pulled into the driveway, he sat for a minute before getting out. The gravel yard shimmered in the heat. The house looked small from the car. Smaller than it used to, though nothing had changed. Beige stucco, brown trim, a porch light he kept meaning to replace. The front window with one blind that never hung straight. He carried the folder inside. The house was cooler than outside, but not cool. He had raised the thermostat 2 degrees after the electric bill came. The kitchen still smelled faintly of the soup Claire had brought, though none of the cans were open. The mortgage notice lay on the table where she had left it. Harold placed the bank receipt beside it, not under it. Beside it. The two pieces of paper did not touch, but they seemed related now. One saying what he owed, one saying what he no longer had. He took the peppermint from his shirt pocket and set it near the receipt. It rolled once and stopped against the salt shaker. His phone buzzed again. Harold looked at it this time. Ryan. Seriously, Dad, I'm going to make this right. Harold stood with one hand on the back of the kitchen chair. The late notice waited. The receipt waited. Ryan's promise glowed in his hand. He typed, okay. He did not send it. After a moment, he deleted the word and put the phone face down on the table. The folder stayed under his arm until he noticed he was still holding it. Then he opened the bottom drawer near the stove and slid it in on top of the takeout menus, as if putting it away could make the account inside it whole again. The drawer would not close at first. He pushed harder. It shut with a wooden scrape that sounded too final in the quiet kitchen. Chapter 5, What the Money Was For. The receipt stayed on the kitchen table all morning. Harold moved around it the way a person moved around a spill he had not decided how to clean. He made toast, then put one slice back in the bread bag. He opened the cabinet Claire had filled and chose the tomato soup, then set it down unopened. He rinsed the coffee pot twice, though it was already clean. The mortgage notice sat beside the receipt. The two pieces of paper looked almost official together, like one had answered the other. He turned the receipt face down. A minute later, he turned it back. Ryan had texted 3 times since the transfer. Thank you again. I mean it this time. I'm going to make this right. Harold had not answered. Not because he was angry, because if he answered, Ryan might answer back. And then Harold would have to decide what kind of father he sounded like. By noon, the house had warmed enough for the air conditioner to start its tired rattle. Harold stood at the sink, drinking water from a glass instead of making lunch, when his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost let it go. Then he thought of Ryan sleeping in his car, of some landlord calling from an office with bad fluorescent lights, of the extra $350 solving what the $700 had not. He answered. Hello? Hi, I'm trying to reach Ryan Bennett. Harold frowned. This is his father. Oh, sorry. A woman's voice. Tired, professional, not unkind. This is Alicia from Desert Vista Apartments. This number is listed as an emergency contact. Harold gripped the edge of the sink. Is Ryan all right? As far as I know, yes. I'm calling because we haven't been able to reach him, and his balance is still outstanding. The glass was cold in Harold's hand. Outstanding, he said. Yes, sir, there's still a past due amount on the account. I'm sorry, how much? I can't discuss the details of the lease with you unless you're listed as authorized. I understand. Harold stared at the faucet. A drop of water formed, hung, then fell. But it hasn't been paid? There was a pause. What I can say is we have not received the full amount needed to bring the account current. Harold did not move. Sir? Yes, he said. Thank you. I'm sorry I can't give more information. No, thank you. He ended the call before she could ask him to have Ryan contact the office. For a moment, he stood at the sink, phone in one hand, glass in the other. He had a sudden, stupid thought that maybe bank transfers took time. Maybe Ryan had not sent it yet. Maybe there was a fee. Maybe the apartment office was slow. Maybe. He called Ryan. It rang 4 times. Then voicemail. Harold hung up and called again. This time Ryan answered on the second ring. Dad, I'm at work. The apartment office called me. Ryan said nothing. They said you still owe. Why are they calling you? I'm your emergency contact. I told them not to call you. That's what you're worried about? A car door slammed somewhere on Ryan's end. Or maybe a metal gate. He was not inside a quiet office. He was outside again. I'm handling it, Ryan said. You said the money fixed it. I said I was fixing it. No, you said you saved me. Ryan exhaled sharply. Dad, can we not do this right now? Where did the money go? To rent. All of it? Most of it. Harold shut his eyes. Most of it. The words were so small, so ordinary, they cut cleaner because of it. What does most mean? It means I had to cover something else too. What else? Just something I was behind on. What else, Ryan? Why are you interrogating me? Because I emptied my reserve account yesterday. Ryan went quiet. Harold had not meant to say that. There it was now, in the middle of the line between them. You what? Ryan asked. I took the money from my reserve account. Why would you do that? Harold almost laughed. Because you asked me to. I didn't tell you where to get it from. The kitchen seemed to tilt slightly, though nothing moved. Harold looked down at the receipt on the table, his name, the withdrawal, the remaining balance he had tried not to look at. Where did the money go? He asked again. Dad, I can't do this at work. Then step outside. I'm outside. Then answer me. Ryan lowered his voice. I had an old thing I had to clear. What old thing? It doesn't matter. It mattered enough to use my money. Your money? Ryan snapped. You gave it to me. Harold did not answer. Ryan must have heard what he had said because his voice shifted fast. I didn't mean it like that. What old thing? Just a debt. What kind of debt? No answer. Ryan. It was stupid, okay? Harold held the phone tighter. What kind? Ryan's voice came out flat and defensive. A betting thing from a while back. The faucet dripped once. Harold looked at the cabinet Claire had stocked with soup. He looked at the prescription bag that was not there because he had not picked it up. He looked at the mortgage notice. Still unpaid. A betting thing, he said. It wasn't like that. What was it like? I owed somebody and it was getting ugly. So you told me you needed rent. I did need rent, but not all of it was rent. I had to take care of both. You used me to take care of both. Ryan made a frustrated sound. Dad, I was trying to keep everything from blowing up. Harold waited for anger to come. It did not come cleanly. What came instead was a slow, heavy stillness. Not peace. Something colder. As if the room had finally stopped pretending with him. I have to go, Ryan said. Don't hang up. I said I'm at work. Are you? That silence was short. Too short. Then Ryan said, What the hell is that supposed to mean? Harold pulled the phone away from his ear and looked at it. He did not know this man on the other end. Then he did. Then he did not again. His screen flashed. Claire. Calling. I have to take this, Harold said. Of course you do, Ryan said. Go talk to Claire. She's probably been waiting for this. Harold ended the call. Claire's call had gone to missed. A second later, she texted, I'm outside. Harold looked toward the front door. Through the living room window, he could see the front of Claire's car, engine off, sun glaring off the windshield. She did not come in right away. She was giving him one chance to refuse her. He did not text back. A minute later, she knocked. Harold opened the door. Claire stood there in work clothes, a lanyard still around her neck, phone in one hand. She looked at his face and stopped whatever she had planned to say. What happened? He stepped aside. She came in. In the kitchen, she saw the receipt first, then the mortgage notice, then his phone on the table. You took out more, she said. He did not answer. Dad. He said he needed it. Claire pressed her lips together. And? Harold sat down slowly. Apartment office called. He's still behind. Claire stayed standing. I talked to him, Harold said. Some of it went to rent. Some. He looked at the table. What was the rest? She asked. Harold rubbed both palms over his knees. The skin felt loose over the bone. A debt. Claire's face changed. What kind of debt? He said betting. She closed her eyes. Don't, Harold said. She opened them. Don't what? Don't look like that. Like what? Like you knew. Claire set her phone on the counter and leaned both hands beside it. I didn't know. I suspected. That's not better. No, it's worse. Harold reached for the receipt and folded it once. Then again, the paper did not want to fold evenly. Claire watched him. How much of the reserve is left? He kept folding. Dad. Not enough. How much? Not enough. She looked away toward the living room, toward the old family photo on the shelf. For once, she did not push the number out of him. The quiet bothered him more than her yelling would have. He was scared, Harold said. Claire's head turned back. He was, Harold said again, weaker. I believe you? That surprised him. Claire came to the table and pulled out the chair across from him. She sat, but she did not soften. Her knees almost touched the table leg. Her purse strap had left a red mark across one shoulder. I believe he sounded scared, she said. I believe he meant it in the moment. I believe he's drowning. Harold looked at her. But he's pulling you under because you keep swimming out to him with your wallet open. He looked down. She leaned back. I'm not saying he's evil. Then what are you saying? I'm saying there's a difference between helping somebody stand up and paying for the floor every time they lie down. That sounds like something from a pamphlet. Fine, her voice sharpened. Then let me say it plain. Did he need help, or did he need someone else to pay for the lie? Harold stared at the folded receipt. The question did not feel like a question. It felt like a door opening in a room he had kept dark on purpose. His phone buzzed. Both of them looked at it. Ryan. A text banner filled the screen. I'm coming over. Don't let Claire turn you against me. Claire read it before Harold could move the phone. Neither of them spoke. Outside, a car passed slowly down the street. The sound faded, leaving the house with the receipt, the notice, the unread promise, and the text that had turned the next thing into something they could not avoid. Chapter 6, The Last Check. Ryan pulled into the driveway too fast. Harold heard the tires before he saw him. Gravel snapped against the underside of the car, then the engine cut off hard. Claire, standing near the kitchen counter with her arms crossed, looked toward the front window. Dad, she said. I heard. The envelope sat on the coffee table in the living room. Plain white, unsealed. Harold had written Ryan's name on it with the black pen from the kitchen drawer, then crossed it out and written it again on a new envelope because the first one looked too shaky. Inside were 3 pages. A printed list from the county website, emergency housing numbers, a job placement office, a debt counseling service, a food pantry near Ryan's apartment. Under that, a letter Harold had written by hand and nearly thrown away twice. No check. The car door slammed. Claire moved first. Harold put out a hand. Don't. She stopped. I'm not going to let him come in here and... Claire. She looked at him, her mouth closed. The knock came once, then Ryan opened the door without waiting. He had done that all his life. Walked into this house as if the walls knew him and still owed him shelter. He stepped into the living room with his sunglasses pushed on top of his head, face flushed from the heat, work shirt untucked. He looked thinner than Harold expected, older too. Not old, just worn in ways Harold had missed when Ryan was only a voice on the phone. Ryan's eyes went to Claire first. Of course you're here. Claire did not move. Hello to you too. Ryan shut the door behind him. You happy? Ryan, Harold said. No, I'm asking her. Ryan pointed at Claire, not quite at her face. You finally got what you wanted. Claire gave a short laugh, but there was no humor in it. You have no idea what I wanted. You wanted him to cut me off. I wanted him to stop bleeding for you. See? Ryan turned to Harold. This is what I'm talking about. She gets in your ear, and suddenly I'm some kind of parasite. Harold stood beside the coffee table. The envelope was close enough to touch. He kept his hands at his sides. Sit down, he said. Ryan looked at him then, really looked. I'm not sitting down. Then stand. Claire's eyes flicked toward Harold, surprised. Ryan noticed. Oh, that's nice. You two rehearsed this? No, Harold said. Right. I asked you to come in and talk. I came because you stopped answering me. You said you were coming. Yeah, because you were acting like I robbed you. Harold felt Claire shift, ready to speak. He shook his head once. Ryan saw that too. What, she's not allowed to talk now? This is between you and me, Harold said. Ryan gave him a look that was almost a smile. It's never between you and me when she's around. Claire's face tightened, but she stayed quiet. Harold moved to the armchair and sat because his knee had started to throb. He hated sitting while Ryan stood over him, but he hated more the thought of his leg giving out in front of both his children. Where did the money go? Harold asked. Ryan threw up one hand. I told you. You told me some. It went where it had to go. That isn't an answer. I paid rent. I handled something else. I'm still standing here, aren't I? Harold looked at him. Ryan's jaw worked. I was trying to keep things from getting worse. For who? Ryan blinked. Harold had not planned that question. It sat there now, plain and ugly. For me, Ryan said. For everybody. For everybody? Dad, come on. No, say it. Ryan looked at Claire, then back at Harold. I owed money. It was stupid. I said that. You said betting. It wasn't like I was at some casino blowing cash. Then what was it? A thing online, a couple things. I thought I could cover it before anyone knew. Claire shut her eyes. Ryan snapped toward her. Don't do that. She opened them. Do what? That face. This is my face when my father empties his last account because you lied to him. I didn't ask you. No, you just let him do it. Enough, Harold said. Both of them stopped. The room held the old family quiet for a second. The kind that used to come after slammed doors, after Ellen said everybody needed to cool down, after Harold stood in the hallway pretending he knew how to fix more than he did. Ryan turned back to him, and the anger dropped into something closer to panic. Dad, I'm trying, he said. Harold kept his eyes on him. I am. You think I like this? You think I like calling you? You think I don't know how Claire looks at me? Claire made a sound, but Harold raised his hand. Ryan stepped closer. I messed up. Okay, I messed up. But you're my dad. I know. Do you? Ryan's voice broke around the edge, then hardened fast. Because it doesn't feel like it right now. Harold looked at the envelope. Ryan followed his gaze. What's that? Harold picked it up. Ryan stared at it. Hope moved across his face before he could hide it. Not much, but enough. The same small lift Harold had seen when Ryan was a kid and Ellen brought out birthday cake before dinner. Harold held the envelope out. Ryan took it. Claire looked away. Ryan opened it standing there, impatient, thumb tearing the paper at the corner. He pulled out the pages. His eyes moved over the first sheet, then the second. Then he looked inside the envelope again. His face changed. What is this? Harold's mouth was dry. It's a list. I can see it's a list. Places that can help. Ryan laughed once. Help with what? Work, housing. Debt. Ryan stared at him. Are you serious? Harold did not answer. Ryan shook the pages. You printed me homework? I wrote you a letter. Ryan looked down again, saw the folded sheet and did not open it. Where's the check? There isn't one. The room seemed to lose sound. Ryan's eyes lifted slowly. About what? There isn't a check. You told me to come here. You told me you were coming. So this is what? You wanted to humiliate me in front of her? Claire stepped forward. Ryan? No. Harold's voice came out rough but clear. Let me. Claire stopped. Harold stood this time. His knee protested and he ignored it. I love you, he said. Ryan's face twisted. Don't. I love you, but I'm not giving you more money. Ryan stared at him as if the words were in another language. I can't, Harold said, and I won't. Because of her, because of me. Ryan's jaw tightened. Harold looked at him, at the man he had raised, the boy he kept seeing by mistake. I used my mortgage money. Then I used my reserve. I have bills I can't pay now because I kept telling myself, you just needed one more save. Ryan stepped back a little. You should have told me. I tried. No, you didn't. You just paid and then acted like a martyr. The words hit. Harold took them in. Some part of them was true enough to hurt. You're right, he said. Ryan looked thrown. I should have told you sooner, Harold said. I should have stopped sooner. Claire's eyes filled, but she stayed silent. Ryan gripped the papers harder. So that's it? You're done being my father? Harold felt the old door open inside him. The one that led back to every call, every late-night worry, every moment Ryan sounded lost, and Harold answered by paying. He did not go through it. No, he said. I'm done paying you to stay a boy. Ryan's face went white with anger. For a second, Harold thought he might throw the pages at him. Instead, Ryan folded them badly and shoved them back into the torn envelope. You know what? Keep your little list. He threw the envelope onto the floor between them. Claire flinched. Ryan turned toward the door, then stopped with his hand on the knob. Mom wouldn't have done this. Harold stood very still. The sentence landed where it always landed. This time, it did not move him. Your mother loved you, Harold said. She would have wanted you alive. She would have wanted me alive too. Ryan opened the door. Heat rushed in from outside. He did not look back. Tell yourself whatever you need. Then he was gone. The door shut harder than Claire ever would have shut it. For a while, neither of them moved. The envelope lay on the carpet, one page half out, the county logo visible at the top. Claire bent to pick it up. Leave it, Harold said. She froze, then straightened. Harold looked at the envelope until his eyes blurred. He did not know whether Ryan would come back for it. He did not know where Ryan would sleep. He did not know if the next call would be anger, apology, or silence. Claire touched his arm lightly. He almost pulled away, then he didn't. I'm going to make coffee, she said. He nodded, though he did not want coffee. Later, after Claire left and the house had gone fully quiet, Harold sat at the kitchen table with the mortgage notice in front of him. The receipt from the bank was still there, creased where he had folded it and unfolded it too many times. He opened his checkbook. His hand was slow but steadier than he expected. The amount he wrote would not fix everything. It would not make the account current. It would not erase the late fee or the phone calls that might come next week. But it was not for Ryan. He tore the check carefully along the perforated edge and placed it on top of the mortgage slip. From the living room, the torn envelope stayed where Ryan had thrown it. Harold looked toward it once. Then he looked back at the check. His eyes burned. He put one hand over his mouth and sat there until the first sound came out, small and broken in the quiet kitchen. He did not reach for the phone.